everybody. Welcome to another episode of Carolyn Talks Television. I'm Carolyn Topal, and this is my amazing co-host, Rachel Arnett.
Hello, everyone.
And Rachel's back with us after a brief hiatus at our last episode. We missed you, although I must admit, my sub-co-host was
really
a gem.
She's pretty cool.
A gem. For those of you who missed it, go back and watch. It was my daughter, which is why she was a gem. And you can't say anything but that.
No.
Today, we're going to go into a category that, as the new year has just started for you, and by the way, you see, it's the new year. We're in Connecticut. I'm freezing. So I'm wearing like 42 layers here. So if you look, say, she looks a little bulky in that sweater. Yeah, it's true. I do. It's cold.
It is very cold.
It's very cold.
Which means a lot more time to watch TV because I'm not outside anymore.
There we go. We're walking on the treadmill watching the TV.
I simply refuse to be outside.
I'm there. I don't have a dog because I don't want to have to walk it. Just saying. That's why I have a kitty. It's the truth. Back to TV. So what we've been doing is we've been talking about resolutions for TV viewing. And look, we make resolutions for everything in this world. We make resolutions for eating, for how long we sleep, for how much we work, for how much time we give to our families, all of which are valuable. But a piece of that is how we entertain ourselves at home. And of course, we know one of the major ways to entertain yourself is television.
Absolutely.
So what we were thinking about was what would be resolutions to change or improve viewing for the coming year in 2023. Rachel, why don't you give us a little start here?
I think one thing that actually comes up for me a fair amount of times is there are a lot of amazing shows that I never saw that are now available on Hulu and Netflix and all the streaming networks. And I'd like to try something new that's already done. Which, right? It's
okay, there you go. I got it.
There's so many TV shows that I can think of where I maybe heard of them in the third or fourth season. They ended after 6 seasons, but I never started them because at the time I was mid-series run, or it just felt overwhelming. There are some really good shows out there that I never looked at. I have no basis for understanding the characters. Mandalorian it's not done technically, so maybe that's not a good example. But
you're we're going into season 3.
Yeah, so something like that where like I need to, if there's a show that I genuinely think I would like, not give up on it before I start it, just because it's a season. I think I get in this position with myself where I'm like, well, if I can't binge watch it in a day, I'm not going to start it. It's a terrible life isn't like that.
Well, I'll give you an example. I have one just like that, and in fact, it's one that really piqued my interest after the Emmys. I want to see White Lotus.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to see White Lotus. I have HBO. No reason I can't see White Lotus.
Yeah, I never started it.
I think they're only on the second season now. Okay, and every time I see like an episode on my channel guide that's a new episode airing, I think I have to watch that show.
And I love so many of the actors and actresses on that show. Like I don't know.
Me too.
I don't know what it is where I didn't start it. I think maybe I just didn't hear about it until award season, honestly.
And for me, I think it's the same thing. Yeah. And I really do want to watch it. And I keep forgetting. So one of my resolutions is I'm going to start, like a lot of us have, I know I have a to-read list.
Oh, yes. Ooh, a to-watch list.
A to-watch list. I'm going to start a to-watch list. And a lot of times, and I love my husband to death, he'll say, wait, I want to watch with you. If I wait and watch everything he wants to wait and watch with me, I will watch nothing.
I have seen some very intense interpersonal conflicts over somebody watching an episode of something instead of waiting. Back in the day, it was Lost.
Okay.
Do you know what? One show I never watched that people said I would really enjoy was Mad Men. And I never watched it. Ever.
I watched all of Mad Men.
Right, and you think I'd love it, right?
And it takes place a little before my time,
Yeah.
which says a lot. um, but I have to tell you, I don't care how old you are, it's an outstanding show.
Yes, it was one of those shows that when it was on, I don't think I was intrigued by it, but everything I've heard since it was over, it's like, man, I love John Hamm. And I really
And the
love
actresses, you know,
Elizabeth Moss. Come
every
on, I love her.
single person on that show has extended their career in a variety of ways, whether behind the camera or in front of the camera, or both, for that matter. They were outstanding on the show. It was in one of the best, more modern ensemble shows I'd ever watched. More drama than comedy, in my opinion, by a lot.
I'm fine with that.
But in comparison, I think about historically classic ensembles. Mary Tyler Moore Show was a classic ensemble show with a similar amount of core characters. You know, it wasn't 2, it was like 8.
Yeah.
You know, there was several core characters and stories that went in a variety of directions, and frequently they overlapped, but not always. But Mary Tyler Moore was a sitcom, no question about it.
Oh, absolutely.
On occasion, there was a little drama pushed in.
There was a moment where the audience track went, oh.
Right. There you go. You
Where
got
the laugh
it.
track went, ooh.
Because I'm pretty sure that was not taped before a studio audience. But on the flip side, Mad Men was more on the drama end of it, but still humor.
Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that it was advertising, you know you're going to get something funny out of that.
And there's things about marketing and advertising and that whole process and the psychology of it I find fascinating anyway. So I feel like it's a show that I would really enjoy, and I just never started it. And then it was over, and I went, oh, but it's so many seasons. And I don't think it
So
even
I'm
was
going to
that.
do my to-watch list, and I'm going to, and you shoot me some ideas for your to-watch list. Okay.
I want you to add Wednesday to yours. It just started on Netflix.
Wednesday?
Wednesday. It is Wednesday Addams.
Wednesday Addams.
It is. Oh my goodness, this show is everything. It's
Okay.
it's a little gory, but not terrible.
Okay,
Not
a little
as bad
gory.
as some of the other stuff. But
yeah,
like,
I don't
the
want
dark
real
humor
gory.
is amazing. Jenna Ortega is unreal as Wednesday Addams. Like, it's just so good.
And I was an Addams Family
Oh, I know.
fan as a kid. So
The second Addams Family movie like defined my the Thanksgiving like play that they do at the camp, like everything about that. I was like, oh, that's my sense of humor. That's
there you
it
go.
right there.
Okay, okay. Well, here's one that I'm putting on my to-watch list right on top. Okay, right on top of my to-watch list is on Disney Plus, amongst a variety of Lucasfilm productions.
Oh, there's so many.
There's now a whole bunch of them, so I think I'm getting a little overwhelmed with them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to prioritize because, look, there's not that many hours, and
I
I have a life.
Mandalorian still.
I have a life.
Yeah.
You know, but National Geographic is starting a thing about the animal kingdom as of this month, January.
Yep.
And the other thing is, I haven't watched yet, and maybe by the time you see this, I will have, because, you know, as always, we tape a month in advance. The Elton John concert that was streamed live. It was streamed live 8 p.m. Pacific time.
Oy.
Now, granted, there are times I stay up late, and I love Elton John.
It's kind of rough.
But if he's going to do a big farewell concert, I love him, but not that much. You know?
Yeah.
Love him, but not that much. And if I recall, it was a Sunday night, which made it even worse.
That is difficult.
Yes. So it wasn't going to happen in my house. But
we resolved to watch it.
I resolved to watch it because now they have advertised that they are replaying it, and you can pick it up on Disney Plus. So I want to watch the Elton John concert. I've been to an Elton John concert live. Best concerts ever. Such a nice person. The charitable, philanthropic work. I mean, just, and the music, that he's a person who was gifted.
He was knighted for a reason.
Yes.
Not everyone gets that.
He was knighted because he truly has a gift.
Absolutely. 100%.
I mean, I think there are very few comparable, several of whom are also from England, interestingly enough. Sir Paul, just to name one. But in this case, I really do believe I would absolutely love this concert at Dodger Stadium.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, at Dodger Stadium.
You know, nostalgia right there. And when I saw some of the replay of it, like the next day, apparently he got himself a new Dodger suit.
Oh,
but one that he was joking that he couldn't wear the original one because he'd never get into it.
He was a very tiny. He was
kind of skinny and he's a very mature person right now. Although he's got 2 tiny tots at home, he's still an older person with a slightly older person's body. Yeah, you know, and
I want to see the new suit.
Yeah, I saw it on a little blip that they showed of the concert. And I was like, he wore one because I didn't think he was wearing any.
Even more.
I saw sparkle.
If I can still see him and not immediately be blinded,
sunglasses.
then that's not enough.
Okay.
I'll
let you know because I'm going to watch that.
She resolves.
I resolved to watch that. Okay. Some of the shows also that we watch, I'm going to resolve not to, just like I've resolved last year, not to finish reading a book if I'm absolutely bored out of my mind. Mm-hmm. I've tried that. I'm like, I'm 70 pages in. I got to finish the book. It's 250 pages. And all it is like a homework assignment back in high school. I'm not in high school anymore. I don't need to finish the book.
Nobody is forcing you.
Nobody's testing me on it on a week from Tuesday. So, just like books, I am resolving not to continue to watch series that I have started that are just not making it for me. Yeah. And I'm going to say one now, and I promise you, some of you will gasp, and I apologize. Be prepared.
Speak your truth.
I will speak my truth. Bridgerton does not do it for me.
That's fair. I watched the first season and I enjoyed it. I watched it well after like all of the furor about it though.
The hype.
I just saw it one day. I was like, sure, I'll try it. The second season I really struggled to get through. And I did eventually get through it just because I wanted to know what happened to a totally secondary set of characters that we didn't actually see what happened. So I'm hoping in the third season, I'm going to give it like the last chance.
Okay.
I don't know.
I found that the first season was okay, and I watched it during the hype time. Yeah. And they were coming on, people were coming on talk shows talking about how amazing this was. And I kept thinking, what am I missing? Mm-hmm. Why don't I feel that way? And clearly, and the thing is, I'm a person who loves historical fiction.
Oh, yeah. And you love romantic comedies.
I love romantic comedy. Yeah. I love historical fiction. I love all that. And
just
yet,
didn't connect.
This...
My mom felt the same way, actually.
Really?
She liked the end of the first season by the time she got through it, but she really struggled, especially with the first couple of episodes. It's like, what is going on here with these people? I'm not connecting to them. Like, she just really, it didn't connect with her in the way that she expected it to.
I actually connected more with the narrator.
Yes. But it helps that it's Julie Andrews.
It's Julie Andrews.
I really don't care what she's saying. I'm listening.
Right. I mean, she could be in the background saying, this is Bridgerton, this is Bridgerton, this is Bridgerton. And in her voice, it would sound like...
I'd be like, get her an Emmy.
Yep.
Right now.
Yep. Because it's Lady Whistledown?
Yes.
Okay, Lady Whistledown.
Lady Whistledown.
Who is basically the gossip columnist in the background. I was all in for her.
Yeah, I thought that mystery... But then they solved the mystery. And they
It just...
Yeah.
There wasn't enough to keep me engaged that was new, creative.
Yeah.
And, you know, the best thing about the show was that it was diverse.
Oh, absolutely.
I liked the diversity. I thought that was an interesting angle for historical fiction. Mm-hmm. because it's also in many ways not realistic.
Although it's interesting because they're now going to also be doing a prequel series
Okay.
of the Queen's journey to becoming the Queen. That I actually think might be more interesting for me than the show because of that. So
That is
The
interesting.
Queen in the story is a Black woman who's married by the White King, and it's this controversy that their love kind of overcomes. But I'm interested to see how they get to that point where she becomes the Queen, because she's a formidable figure on the show. I will
that
say
is
I
true.
love that character, and I love the way it's played, and I love the actress who plays it.
Well, I like that character better than I liked the romantic leads.
Yeah.
And that's a
That's fair.
problem because that's not
relate.
what it's about. It's about the romances.
Yeah.
And the
Maybe you like the
romances.
Queen show.
There we go.
We'll see.
One of the shows I am determined to continue watching
Mhm.
because I do love it when I click on it is The Crown.
I've never seen a single episode of that show.
Okay.
That may be when I resolve to start.
And here's where you go with historical fiction versus docudrama.
Yes.
It's such a, especially the historical pieces way back. The first 2 seasons, and I was a history minor in school, so it's not like I'm like speaking
Mhm.
without any academic, involvement here. And this was a time period that I actually adore is modern history.
Mhm.
Modern world history is was my sort of specialty in that area
Very cool.
of history. The first 2 seasons of The Crown are basically historically pretty darn accurate.
Mhm.
The events.
Only the most recent ones that Buckingham Palace has come out and said, we sure about some of those details?
And the problem is they don't want you to be sure about the details. I think a piece of it is that it's a he said, she said, they said
Oh, yeah.
situation. And it has been for the past 22 years. And that's the parts that everybody's hypersensitive about now.
Well, at the end of the day, it's about real people. And that is, it's a very interesting to me whenever there's a show that's based on more recent history,
Mm-hmm.
whether the subjects are currently alive or not, because there are many people who are currently alive who knew those people.
Right.
So any, docudrama, any documentary, there's always people who know the people who are like, actually, that's not the best representation, or you left out this important thing. It's fascinating to me sometimes how I will sometimes learn more about the historical figure through backlash against a show
Right.
than the show. But like you're saying, The Crown, the first couple of seasons, everyone was like, yeah, that's historical fact. This is what happened. This is
And
what
yes,
happened.
we were not in the dining room when Margaret and Elizabeth might have been arguing about Margaret's choice of husbands.
Mm-hmm. But you know what happened.
But you know that ultimately who she didn't marry and then who she did marry, and that she ultimately was given permission to divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is history.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, there was not a bug in the room where we had the exact quotations, and that's where you call it docudrama, not a documentary.
Yep. Exactly.
But I thought it was a pretty fair representation. I do think that certainly back then, if not before,
Mm-hmm.
the phrase the heir and the spare
Mm-hmm.
really came to fruition with Elizabeth and Margaret.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are times Margaret wanted more power,
Yeah.
and more ability to make her the choices that were being made. And now, of course, we know that hopefully this month, Prince Harry's book, Spare, is coming out. That's on my to-read list, by the way, just saying. Yeah. So as soon as that's out, yeah, I'll be ordering when they start the pre-orders. I'll be there. Yes, I have no question about that one. But like I said, so when I'm thinking about what to watch, I'm going to have to put The Crown on just so I give myself the permission that, okay, start watching the new season. It's dropped.
And I think I need to remove some of the things from my still watching list that I am definitely not still watching.
Any
I've got at
examples
least,
there?
oh gosh.
Jump in when you think of
Yeah.
one.
I'll be honest, I never enjoyed Seinfeld, and I started trying to watch it, couldn't do it. Started trying to watch Friends, couldn't do it.
Friends, I was in and out of. I never stayed. I was not a loyal Friends fan.
The clips that I saw when I was younger, maybe I only saw like the funniest clips, but to me it seemed like the funniest show that had ever been on TV. And then I watched a whole episode and I was like, oh man, I don't really like most of these people. I don't know.
They were, you know, they always say one of the things about a good show is that the characters are well-rounded and flawed. But in my opinion, most of the characters on Friends were so flawed.
Well, they were
It was a little
very
bit hard to get past.
two-dimensional. It felt like every episode was like an episode where I can't remember the name of the type of episode where they all get trapped in the same room.
Right.
I can't remember the name of that type of episode, but like, and there was always like conflict,
Yep.
resolution, awkward joke about it. Joey's being dumb again. Like it just never, Joey especially, like they never did anything with his character.
Only one or two of the I found that growth was minimal on that show.
Yeah. And I think really both of those shows, when I think about it, that's part of my issue with them.
Seinfeld had no growth, in my opinion.
No. And to be fair, that's what they were designed to be.
That's right.
A day in the life. Like they were not designed to be these grand comedies, almost like we have now, where there's a lot more threaded and growth. Like you're saying, it's a sitcom. It was meant to just be like a one-shot funny. But they just, neither of them really did it for me. So I need to just remove them and stop trying to like force myself to watch them.
And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned something to me about a young man who you would like to spend a little more time with, also with your to-watch list.
So I realized earlier this month that most of the time when I'm watching things with my kiddo, when I'm watching things with Zach, we're watching movies or we'll watch Lego Masters or we'll watch America's Funniest Videos. But there are so many more shows that we could watch together, especially stuff that's on Disney Plus, and there's quite a bit on Netflix that's age appropriate. And for one, I really enjoy spending time with the kid.
Yeah.
Shocker. Like I really like my kid, so I love laughing with him and watching shows with him. But like we watched a show on Netflix a couple of years ago called Julie and the Phantoms. And going through that show with him, even though it was only a season, which to this day I will never forgive Netflix for, because if any show deserved a second season.
Okay.
Honestly. But being able to talk about character growth with him or the thematic elements, we had so much fun. We connected over different things. We cried together. We laughed together. And I really appreciated the experience beyond just like a movie and then the movie's done. I like the idea of having like every Monday we watch an episode of this show.
And you know what? Your son is old enough now. Yeah. There's a show on Disney Plus. I thought about when you and I had chatted about this a little bit, and it's the Mysterious Benedict Society.
You're the second person to recommend that show to me.
And I think they're just come out, or they're about to come out with a season 2 of it. First of all, it's from a novel.
Oh, perfect.
So he could read the novel either before or after.
Probably after, or else he's going to complain the whole time that it's not as good as the book. But I do the same thing.
Okay, yeah, me too, me too. And there's never been a movie where I've liked the movie better, except The Godfather, maybe.
Jurassic Park for me.
Oh, okay. There you go.
A lot less math in the movie.
Okay, there you go. But the Mysterious Benedict Society, I think your son, who just had a birthday, or is about to have a birthday, so he's going to be 9 years old, is the perfect age for this show.
Okay. And
talk about thinking. There's a lot to think about, a lot to talk about, and there actually is character growth. In many ways, it's in a surprising way.
I like that. Well, conversations like that are always fun to have with him. Like he really understands and can analyze everything from character choices to even director choices. Why do you think they zoomed in on that piece of paper?
Okay, then that's on your to-watch list.
Okay.
I'm actually going to email her and remind her to put it on her to-watch list, because I loved it. I watched it with my entire family. Like
Okay.
we made a commitment to watch it once a week when we were together,
Oh, see, I like that idea.
because it was that good a show, and it was on every level. I think I've mentioned before, my youngest son, who's in his 30s, is special needs.
Mhm.
He enjoyed it.
Oh,
We
so that's
all
awesome that all of you
enjoyed
did.
it at our own level.
That's really cool. I like that a lot. Well, I think it would also just be nice to break up some of the darker shows. For whatever reason, right now, most of the shows I'm watching are pretty dark.
See, this is more mystery
know.
than dark. It's got dark
I like that.
moments, but dark moments because it's a mystery.
Mhm.
But it's a kid mystery.
That works for me.
That is also was totally appealing to me. I loved it. My husband loved it. He doesn't like usually all the things I like, so this was a win-win-win-win-win.
That works.
Did I do 5? If I didn't do 5 wins, just give me.
No, that was, yeah, you did.
Okay, I did that. Okay.
Win, 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 win.
The other thing I put on my resolve list, and you also may want to do this at home, because I am the guiltiest of all. I need to stop watching repeats. If I like a show, that's terrific. I really don't need to watch it 422 times to make sure I really love it so
Yeah.
much. And the thing
It's
that's
sad.
nice about a DVR is if I really like a show or a couple of episodes, just leave it on your DVR. They got so many hours space
Oh,
there.
yeah. I don't know why I watch every episode of Law and Order SVU that comes on the TV, even though I've seen them all. I know how they end. I remember at the end of every single, but I'm just, there are other shows I could be watching.
And so, like, I've saved, for example, I have saved now, like, my 6 or 8 favorite Murder, She Wrote episodes.
Oh, I like, so you, the individual episodes, that's smart.
So I picked episodes I really love, and if I feel like a brief rewatch, it's there. I don't have to, like, mainline Murder, She Wrote while it's on. And then I can also visual search through the commercials and everything. So not only do I want to see the shows that are new and intriguing, I want to dump the shows that have bored me and that I'm like forcing myself to watch. And I want to
watch more. with
and
my
I
kid.
want and you want to watch more with your son, and I want to watch less repeats.
And we want you to watch this more. Look at all of this.
Hello. So putting that all together in a bow, Carolyn Talks Television wants to invite you to keep watching us.
Yes.
But you only have to watch us once a month. It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch the repeat. So put us on your to-watch list and make your own to-watch list so you don't miss anything. With all the channels and streaming networks, it's easy.
There you go.
And for Rachel and for me, we say, have a great new year, and I hope all your resolutions come true and you stick to them.